Son shit, y'all ready?
I hope y'all are. If you heard the Tony Mendez episode, you already know what this is about. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't, I suggest you do so. That's right. Hey, or you'll be stranded, just like Caruso. Go ahead if you wanna. Oh, that's my bad. I was about to jam out with some Master Ace verse of the Symphony, Marley Marl, Big Daddy Kane, Kool G Rap, Craig G, Master Ace. That's a hip hop moment, 1988. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, posse cut of all times. But this ain't about hip hop. This is about another form of entertainment. But again, if you haven't heard the Tony Mendez joint, check it out. This is what brought me here, because there's been a lot of backlash within the last 5, 6, maybe 7, 8 years. You know what I mean? About a lot of this wildness about different ethnicities and races playing classic characters, and people are out here losing their mind. And here's a quick little history lesson on how wild it is. Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man. They had just finished Spider-Man 2, and they didn't know whether or not a Spider-Man 3 would come through because the numbers was low. But the question was brought up to Andrew Garfield as well as Sony. And the question was, yo, do you think we'll ever see Miles Morales? Andrew Garfield, 100% on board. Man, that would be cool. That would be so great. That would expand the Spider-Man universe. That would be just another layer. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, But I'm saying he was down with that. Sony, on the other hand, and this is over 10 years ago, Sony, on the other hand, was like, nah, we'll reboot Peter Parker before we go that route. And everybody was up in the uproar, like, man, that's kind of racist. I can't believe, really, there's a black, you know what I'm saying? But they just don't want the black Spider-Man. And this is coming from a lot of the major joints, the Screen Rants, and all these other people was out here saying that. You know what I mean? That was the thing. That was a real thing. Don't get it twisted. That was a real thing. Fast forward, we have people tripping about Black Little Mermaid. We got people out here screaming and pleading their case, don't do it, for Black Superman, which, by the way, the Superman that Michael B. Jordan would be playing is an actual comic book character whose sales were great at one time. You know what I'm saying? They did some stuff and shifted him around, but his sales as that Superman character had some good sales, was actually really good. So it's like, no brainer. Let's do this. Different universe, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's tripped out about it. Like Batwoman, everybody's tripping out. I don't understand how we got here. And that's my thing. I'm lost on how we got here. I mean, I get it, but I'm lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, at one point, we was all for this inclusion. We were for this. Brandy was Cinderella. Her stepmother was the great Whitney Houston. Rest in peace. Nobody tripped out about that. It was on ABC. That's Disney owned. So that was Disney approved. Nobody flipped out about that. That was a great moment in history. That was a great moment in television history. The inclusion of other people of color coming together to tell this story that has been completely white people orientated forever. All of a sudden, we're tripping. People are tripping about the Valerians being black. You know what I'm saying? And when you read the books, he gives you colors of the hair, he gives you color of the eyes, colors of the beard, what their bodies are. He never really goes into race. Now, with that being said, the construct, the conventional wisdom, the default thinking is everybody's white. And there lies the biggest issue. We have never, unless it was placed in writing, placed people of color in these positions. This book really never tells you anybody's white or black. You know here, you know there. You know. And therefore we just assume everybody's white. I'm a black man. I'm a black man from Virginia. And I'm going to tell y'all this. I say this because I grew up with the mentality of they painted Jesus white so they could place white people closer to God. That was the theory I was always given as a kid. Oh yeah, they made Jesus white so that could make you think that, white people are godly and everybody else is this, and this. That was the theory I was given coming up. Here's the wild part about that. We all know his name, Michelangelo. Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo did a lot of these paintings that are now copied and embroidered and engraved, and is basically the default thought of everything religious when it comes to Christianity. He gave the world a white Jesus. He was inspired to give the world a white Jesus, looking at his family. Had nothing to do with we're making ourselves closer to God. It was what it really was. I'm going to make these people look like the people I turn around and see every day in my household, my family. That's what they do. And when you look at the mermaid thing, and I spoke about it on the last one, on the last episode. When you think about the mermaid thing, it's the Mediterranean area, Africa, China, and Europe, and where the Europeans are. You really think African people saw white people as their mermaids? You really think Chinese people saw African people as their mermaids? Have you ever seen pictures of Chinese people's Santa Claus? It's an Asian dude. You know what I'm saying? You make your representation of an imaginary figure look like you. The only people who don't, by the way, and I don't want to sound like I'm jumping off topic, but I really need to say this because I'm always lost on this one. The only people that seem to don't do that are anime people. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Anime is like the wildest joint to me. Like, every character is Asian. Every character is Asian. The language is Asian. The traditions are Asian. And yet they all look like white people. You know what I'm saying? Now, if there's a I hate myself vibe, that's one. Or they're looking at it like, yo, this sells better. That's the crazy, and there lies the joint. What it is. What is it? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Hollywood always tells us. We put white people in these situations because it sells better. Angelina Jolie played a Portuguese woman. It sells better. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, white people have played light-skinned black people. White people have played black people in a couple of these movies. Oh, that's a black guy in real life. White character. You know what I'm saying? That has happened in Hollywood. And they'll tell you because it sells better. And they tell you it sells better because at the end of the day, your target audience is the average person, and the average person, pop culture, is white people. Like I said, it's I didn't want to go that route. I was gonna get there, but I'm just saying, anime makes you always think about that, because then you had the Shell and the Ghost of the Shell joint, the Shell and the Ghost joint. You had the Scarlett Johansson moment. And everybody was like, oh my God, they whitewashing. Really? Have you seen the cartoon? That's clearly a white woman. Like, yeah, everything about anime is so Asian and Japanese orientated, except for the characters. And people were like, oh man, that's messed up, and that's messed up. Now, fast forward a little bit. Fullmetal Alchemist has 2 movies out where they made all the characters are Asian, and people don't want to see it. Go figure. So the whitewashing that you complain about, when a movie actually does the appropriate thing, nobody wants to check for it. You make Hollywood right. Just saying. You make Hollywood right. Now I know all the little joints on this, all the little comments are, well, they were supposed to be. Nah, they're really not. They're really not. That's basically supposed to be colonization. That's what that is. Whether y'all know it or not, Gandhi fought for the queen. Gandhi served for the queen. Whether y'all know that or not, he was a member of the military for the queen. He wasn't off like rebelling back then. He fought on behalf of the queen. He was a soldier for the queen. You know what I'm saying? That's what that joint's about. It's about the fact that they've been colonized. There's a whole, there are probably some European people there, but they've been colonized. That's the whole joint about that. And they're trying to figure out this and that with, and multiple layers of stories on top of that. But the base is, when you talk about it from that standpoint, that's what that is first and foremost. Again, you get the people who actually bring out Asians, and everybody's like, I'm not checking for that. Ugh, I don't want to see that. Ugh. Crazy, right? Hollywood has done that to us. You know what I'm saying? All our superheroes. My man who came up with Wonder Woman also came up with The Lie Detective. History lesson. Said he wanted a hero that his daughter could identify with. White woman. Lasso of Truth. Strongest Superman. That's part of the Trinity for DC. There that go. You know what I'm saying? There that go. There's no, at some point, we could have easily made Batman a black man. You're in a hardcore, gritty city. You're a vigilante, somebody killed your parents. You take the millionaire part off and could put any ethnicity in there, and we're still good. You know what I'm saying? But would it have sold? Would he have been as iconic as he is now had he been a person of color? A white man was like, I'm going to make this character white, relatable. That's what happens. That is where we have been. That is what we do. What is happening now is there's so many more colors, religions, backgrounds. And it's like, and as much as people go, they just trying to, include people. It's about representation. If there's an actual story where the race is not important, go ahead. You're gonna tell me that a Black Mermaid story isn't the story will somehow be completely different because it's a black lady? It's the same story. You know what I'm saying? The Wiz proved that. The Wiz was still Wizard of Oz. Same story, beat for beat almost. Just funkier, soulful. You know what I'm saying? From a black perspective, she was in. First of all, the fact that they even were like, you gonna be in Harlem and do this, lets you know they were trying too hard, but they were trying. You could have still been in Kansas. There's black people in Kansas. But they had to black it up because the thought is there ain't no black people in Kansas. They're in Harlem. But beat for beat, same joint. Didn't miss nothing at all. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're at that point now where we can make those characters interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? We can swap these people out now. We can do that. And nobody wants to do that because we're stuck in our ways of, when we see characters, we see them first as white, unless there is proof that they're not. Names, region, you know what I'm saying? If that's not the case, white's the default. All these aliens, all these superhero aliens, white. You know what I'm saying? All of them. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're other colors. And even then, sometimes it still comes out the way. Marvel has a gang of aliens and superheroes from other planets, and most of them are white. DC Same thing, and most of them are white. That's not coincidence. That's the default. That's the default that we have been trained to believe. And I'm making up. If a white guy came up to the table and told you a story, gave you this great whimsical fairy tale, by default, you're thinking of a white guy. White chick gives you this whimsical tale, the same story. By default, you're still thinking of white guy. I give it to you. You're listening a little hard to figure out what the deep like, because your first thought is it might be a white guy. Then your second thought is, oh well, it's black, so it gotta be black. It's a black person. It's about the representation, and the problem is other colors have not been able to bring a lot to the table. Marvel didn't have any diversity at first. Neither did DC. You know how long it took for that? So boom. And crazy part is Jon Stewart, Black Green Lantern, was made by a white guy. But that's what I'm saying. And he went out his way to do that. That is the world we live in. That's how you got Milestone Comics. Their whole thing was, we love comics, and then when you get to that age of common sense, you're like, there's no black people. There's some aliens. And even then, you figure they're white. There's no black people. They went out their way and made a whole comic book universe of black characters. The fact that we just can't be inclusive anymore is a problem. There's so much diversity now. You mean to tell me people are like, that's not my Little Mermaid? No, it's not. It's going to be your child's Little Mermaid, your grandchild's Little Mermaid. It's going to be theirs. So if you don't stick your nose in and give them give them that vibe, they're going to ride with it. You know what I'm saying? I saw the little joint that looked completely staged, where the little girl was looking and she's like, I don't see the problem. Like, yeah. Boo to that. Boo to that. Dora the Explorer has already put a nail in that coffin. Kids vibe differently. The people who are complaining are the adults, because they're like, nobody cares. We're at a point where we can do that, and the only people that are tripping are the adults. You know what I'm saying? Little Mermaid wasn't that was your joint growing up. This is going to be hers. And somewhere along the line, they'll turn into something else. That's what it is. That's how it is. The world is so much bigger now that it doesn't have to be white people have to be the default for everything. We can go out here and get it on. There's no more, that's the token character. There's no more, oh man, they're doing it for diversity issues. It's representation. If it doesn't directly say it's this and this, go ahead. Why not? Is it really going to, if it's bothering you that much that it takes away from the, like if it doesn't take away from the character, if it doesn't take away from the story, how is that bothering you? It's just, I mean, like I said, I understand that we have been brainwashed to whitewash everything. That's what it is. We've been brainwashed to whitewash all of this stuff. So when somebody brings in other colors, you know what I'm saying? It's immediately for white people, throwing them off. I didn't care nothing about the Valerians being black. I was like, okay. My whole thing was, how they keep their hair like that. Then the logic in me was, probably because of where they're at, they're getting all the sun, and that's not even really a hair color. That's the bleaching of the hair due to all that sunlight that they're getting. Alright, cool. I made that make sense. That was it. I was sold from that point. I was good. I understand the mermaids come from the Mediterranean area. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with it just because it is what it is. Like, how is that going to be a big difference? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, and what's wild is, it becomes a thing where it depends on who it is and what it is. Nobody tripped out about Aquaman. Nobody's tripping out about my man coming in on the Black Panther. Namor. Nobody's tripping out about him. It's this. This is what they want to place their hat on. You know what I'm saying? This is what they want to hate on. They were hating on the black chick on the Obi-Wan Kenobi joint before even getting to see her story arc or understanding her reasoning. That first episode of look, I can't stand her. Black this, black that. That's your personal issue with black chicks. There must be a black chick at your job or lives around you that makes you feel uncomfortable because you can't deal with them. So you basically place that on her. You know what I'm saying? The story was a dope story. Like, yeah, she was what she was. She was a pain, yo. She was a pain. She was a yo. But that moment when you saw what her real issue was, and then Vader was like, yo, you thought you were gonna play me? Like, hide that from me? Yeah, you tripping, yo. I saw that. And then her whole and everything switched for her. It's what it is, man. Like, people were hating before they had even got into episode 3 or 4. They was hating in episode 1 and 2. Crazy. Why? Because those are issues that they have. Hollywood has an issue too. Hollywood's issue is we're gonna keep it white as we can keep it to make this money. You know what I'm saying? Until we're shown otherwise. Like, if you can show us otherwise, then we might do it. But that's the thing. It doesn't happen. The Wire is just as good, if not slightly better, than Breaking Bad or The Sopranos. So much so that a lot of people are to this day still just coming across The Wire. Like, yo, there's a show called The Wire. Yo, it's great. Been great. It was always great. By the way, The Wire is like 20 on its 20th year. It's a 20-year anniversary this year. Came out in 2002. Just saying. Little joint right there. But I'm just like, nobody was checking for that for no other reason than when they saw the commercials, when they saw the advertisement, it was all black people. So they figured it was a black show. One of the greatest shows of its time. Groundbreaking. Should be up in that conversation with those shows around the early 2000s. But it's not. For no other reason than because the cast was majority black. It was in Baltimore. That was some hood stuff. You know what I mean? Hollywood has brainwashed us to think that way. We have been taught to think that way. You know what I'm saying? And don't believe me, it's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than The Little Mermaid. It's the most minute things that we think of. It's minute. Yo, there's that barbecue place that's really good. People be like, yeah, I've been told to try this. This is a great bar. And then they go in and be like, yo, it's a lot of black people up in here. Like, yeah, you try the place? I didn't feel comfortable in there. Why? It was, it was wrong. It was, it just didn't look right to me. Oh, okay. All right. That's what happens. Hey, you check that Spanish restaurant out? What Spanish restaurant? Oh yeah, I went there. It was too many Spanish people. Nobody looked like me. So it can't be good. Yeah, all your friends are telling you because they went there. Well, what day do you go? Anytime. Well, when I went there was a lot of Spanish people there. It's a Spanish restaurant. Yeah. Most of those people actually speak, like, it's only like 3 people who can speak English. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's kind of that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, so what day do the white people go? I don't really know how that works, but I mean, anytime. That's what happens. That's the default. That's how we feel about certain schools. Like, God let a school in the hood have the best you know what I'm saying, SAT scores in the city. And they're like, hold on, that's a good school? I can't let my kid go to that school though. Graduation rate at that school is like 99%. All those kids end up going. Most of those kids, over 50% of those kids go to college. And those kids have good careers coming back. This is the school you should be checking for. It's a default. It's the way I can't speak for the world. I can speak for America. It's the way that we've been trained. If it ain't white, it ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And we're at a point where that can no longer be like the basis for anything. Entertainment, education, the eateries you want to go to, the spots you want to just chill out at. You know what I'm saying? That can't be the thing anymore. And the fact that we are still out here having people trip out about the small little things, it's crazy. And it's all, no disrespect, it's always white dudes. It starts with white dudes. It's white dudes who hated on all the female solo superhero joints. That sucked. This sucked. And then the one that they did like, they were like, oh, that's because it's like a mix of Thor and Captain America. Wonder Woman, which by the way, it was. Let's keep it going. But Wonder Woman was the only one out of all these female solo joints. The first Wonder Woman was the only one that got real love. The only one. You know what I'm saying? And at first, that was the whole thing. These dudes was out here mad because females were running it. You know what I'm saying? Which is weird because the average slasher flick has females controlling the game. It always ends up with a female being the hero. Now we taking this to this world of men, the world of fantasy and adventure, and there was women controlling it. There's too many women it was too many women on that one Star Wars movie running stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There's too many women that seem to have like major roles on that Star Trek Discovery joint. Like, yo, come on, what are we talking about? This Marvel sucked. The other Marvel chick on the Disney show, that sucked. She-Hulk sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, we get it. We see what it is. We know what it is. These are joints that you have put in your head where it's men orientated, and now there's a lot more females coming in the game, and you're lost. Yeah, the first Avengers only had one chick. The first Marvel movies, solo movies, there was no females. The only female who came away with a solo movie was Wonder Woman. The only black character who came away with a solo movie was Black Panther, who by today's standard, as time went on, people go, oh, that's overrated. Which, and here's the crazy part, I don't disagree with. You know what I'm saying? I agree it is overrated. But it's not overrated because it's a black superhero and, oh, they try to hype it. No, it's overrated because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, the story was so much more. The story that was the most interesting didn't get as much runtime as it should have. And I get it, it's a Black Panther story. But Killmonger's story and angle was like, yo, that could have been a movie by itself. Just watching him on his way to get to Wakanda should have been a movie by itself. You know what I'm saying? That was my biggest issue. Like, the real story, that's cool. This is the joint right here. This right here, him trying to get there. Oof, that's the story. That's why I say it's overrated. Because I understood, to me, what was more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, we gotta get past all that. We can't get better entertainment and more diverse entertainment if we're still running around here huffing and puffing about stuff like that. We're huffing and puffing about made-up characters not being the default color that we're used to. They threw a little, you know what I'm saying? They threw a little color in the game. And it's not just going to be a white person. They threw a little, why not? Come on, man. We got to do better. That's just my thought. That's how I feel about it. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. And with that being said, this weekend, this coming Saturday, we are going to do the Hispanic History Moment. I'm telling y'all early because this made me think about it. West Side Story, which I can tell you, I've been on this earth long enough to see West Side Story not just cast women with dark hair and then start going, well, we'll give it to the blonde chick and make her put on a dark hair wig, a brunette wig, a black wig. Then it got to the point where just, it is what it is. The whole cast is nothing but blondes, and nobody cares. Which is about Puerto Ricans and Italians, and unless a lot of them dye their hair, you're not seeing blondes. But I've been around long enough to watch the game go through that. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the mix long enough to watch that progression of. It's not, and to them, that's what it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just about trying to get the best. And we're supposed to not huff and puff about that. Again, Marvel, and here's a quick joint too. Marvel knew they could do anything when they got to Iron Man 3. Even when they did the switcheroo. The fact that people was huffing and puffing about whitewashing and they still rock with it, they came away. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all next week. Thank y'all for listening. East Coast, West Coast, worldwide. Y'all have a good one. Peace.